And we're back. Week in review. Here's a video of Colin doing muscle snatches differently than we teach him normally. He's got hip contact on this one, so he's finishing with his hips. One thing this does is force you to continue pulling after the explosion, which is kind of the reason we kept it in, rather than having no contact, which would force you to continue pulling throughout the middle phases of the pull. He looked really happy with that set, as you can see. Let's see if the other one's a little bit better. That one he kind of pushed it forward. I think this one's a little straighter. Yeah, much better. Much better set. This is 105 kilos. So pretty low percentage of his best snatch. Pretty easy double. Colin had a pretty easy week last week. Nothing super heavy. He did end up doing, this was on his heavier day, one pull plus one snatch, 150 kilos. So, nice pull. And a solid snatch. Pretty nice.
Ooh, the hair flip.
The hair flip. Trademark hair flip from Burns. Boom. Okay, analyze that in slow motion. It's only 2 frames. You'll notice the technique, he really contracts hard on his right trap to get the head to flick backward. Get that hair behind his head. Snatch, pull plus snatch is a good exercise. Overloads the pull portion of the lift. It makes it a little harder when you actually go for the snatch, after you've done a pull beforehand. It can also help you fix technical stuff, like if your pull is a little bit early or you do weird stuff, you can correct that with that. Just depending on how intense you go, how heavy you go. Obviously, the heavier you go, the more it's going to be a strength exercise, and the lighter you go, the more you can work on the technique of it. This is Pomp. Pomp also had a fairly medium week last week. A few big lifts. This is another 120, no hook, no feet. What is that? Yeah, it's a no hook, no feet. It better be no hook, no feet. Nope, that's just a snatch. That's just Pomp doing a sort of not so hot 120 snatch. Probably another 125 snatch here.
This is just a regular snatch. There's Rutgers there.
This is a regular snatch. Yeah.
It's Monday night.
Yeah. He went pretty light in the snatch. We just did a bunch of 120s. On Monday, he was recovering from some hard squatting and other stuff he'd done earlier last week, the week before that. This technique's very solid, really consistent. He did have a big squat workout last week. It's like 182 for 5. Pretty solid. Very strong for Pomp. I think it's probably a PR for sure. Pretty easy. You'll know he bends his knees, straightens them again 5 times while 182 kilos is on his chest. Pretty good. Strong squatting from Pomp. Really strong squatting. Overall, a good day for him. The squats come up. This has been the tail end of his squat, like real hard squatting phase, before we kind of push more into the lifts. And this is Courtney. Courtney's workout here. I believe this is a push jerk or a power jerk, whatever you call it. Everyone has a different name for it. Yeah. One of the things I wanted to see was how her power jerk was relative to her split jerk. Courtney has an issue in the jerk of driving the bar forward, or really just driving herself back from the bar. And I think it stems from trying to use her arms too early, too soon. It's going to be a little bit harder to do that and be successful with a push jerk because you have no lateral, you have no movement forward and backwards once you've put the bar over your head. And kind of watching her do this, she told me her best is, what's your best, 105? Mm-hmm. Best result is 105 in the push jerk. So clearly she can drive the bar straight with big weights. It's just a matter of what she does with her arms and her legs when interacting with it on the split phase. And so kind of get an idea of what she was able to do there. I wanted to see it, and we could make some assessments. We were going to incorporate it more in the next training weeks coming up where she'll do a push jerk, then a split jerk, try and carry over some of the good aspects she does in the push jerk, carry over some of those traits to the actual split jerk. But you see there, she actually kind of dipped backwards a little bit, like she did a couple reps here. Yeah, and then they were not as hot. Great face. Face for
Radio.
Face for radio. Wow. Colin is dating Courtney. In case you... This is a snatch with a slow start. So Courtney had a dynamic start where she would drop her hips down really quick and then pull. And one of the things that would happen because she would do that is it would force, she'd end up kind of not bringing her hips down all the way, leaving the bar out in front of her at the start. And this exercise is something I was shown or had seen before. I don't think it's really a super significant exercise, just kind of changing the tempo of the lift, where she starts with her from a static position and pulls slowly until the bar passes her kneecap, or passes like the top of her knee really. And that forces her to have to use her legs more, but also becomes more comfortable pulling with a different tempo where it's not dropping the hips, dropping down really fast and trying to pull hard from the beginning, but you know, gradually accelerating the bar as you bring it closer to your hips. It's definitely made a big improvement, I think, in her snatch. I actually have a snatch video. I think she wanted to hit 80 kilos later in the week, which was really nice. Nice change in technique for her. I think overall it looks pretty good. It's good exercise if you have trouble controlling what you do in the beginning of the pull. So here's Courtney doing 80. She did a few singles here. End of the week. So no dynamic start, just from a static position. Snatching 80. Looks really good. Looks like a big improvement. The bar stays close right off the ground, which is a huge key. She does use her legs a lot better too. Getting her legs into it rather than having her hips kind of swing backward and stay in position before she brings the bar up. It's a really good position at the top too. She's like right there before the explosion. Bars where you want it to be. Her body's positioned where you want it to be. And obviously a much better catch. I think we also worked on her overhead position too. You can see her arms are internally rotated more. So her wrist is turned inside, like she's turning it towards the front of her body. Her elbow is pointed backwards more, and that's a much better position to receive the bar in. It puts all the pressure on your upper back, instead of how she was, you know, a few months ago, where her arms would turn the opposite direction, put the bar in front of her head. It's really good. Also, you can see in the back we've got Jeff Rother. Zoom in there. Jeff Rother is our plus. He's a 94 plus kilo lifter. A couple other folks in the back just looking depressed. This is rough. It's a rough crowd back there, Courtney. That's good. That was a good snatch. It's coming around a lot. It's looking really nice. You can try to improve on that, obviously. That's pretty sub-maximal, pretty easy for her. So nothing gigantic, but being able to use heavier weights. When she first did it without a static start, when she first did the static start maybe 2 weeks ago, she couldn't even do 70. And, you know, really quickly, within a few workouts, she was comfortable with it. If you're the kind of person who has a bunch of trouble with your start position, or it's inconsistent, or you're, you know, just doing too much, you're moving too much in the start position, and that's pushing the bar into different places, then, you know, try learning how to do it properly from a totally static position before you even consider switching back. It doesn't really take a lot more power from you to do that, but it will help a lot in terms of stabilizing the position. Overall, do you guys feel like anything special? Muscle snatches?
I feel like you're special.
Well, your words, not mine. I'm not going to argue with that.